Alright guys, so for the first beading pattern that we are going to be working on, which is the dangling chain beading pattern, we are going to be using 3 different types of bead. So the first type of bead that we are going to be using is this one that we call the teardrop bead. So this is what the teardrop crystal bead looks like. This chain, this line of teardrop crystal bead, I think I bought it from Charity for 700 naira. Please don't quote me. Reach out to her if you want to buy and ask her how much she sells it. I got it from Charity in Mile 1. If you don't know who Charity is, if you are new here, one of my vendors, her name is Charity, and her shop is located in Mile 1 Market out here in Port Harcourt. So for people that live in Port Harcourt, or even if you live outside Port Harcourt and you'd like Charity to ship to you, I shared a video where I showed you guys her shop and a couple of things that she sells. So I'm going to link that video on the screen. Check the description bar of that video and get Charity's number and reach out to her. And remember to always tell her that you're coming from Funmibi Olawore's YouTube channel, so she knows that her sister is out here plugging her in. All right, so I got this teardrop crystal bead from her, and we are going to be using this bead for the purpose of this video. We are also going to be using our crystal bead. This is the crystal bead in color in champagne gold, and it's size 6. This is what it looks like. We are also going to be using our cut bead. If you don't know what cut bead, some people call it the broken glass bead. This is also it, but this one is in yellow gold. It's not in this same shade of gold, but yeah, by the time we couple everything together, it's going to make sense. If you have your hands on a matching color of bead all through, that would be perfect. But because I'm just sharing a tutorial with you guys, I just decided to just, you know, rock with it. So all right, enough of the talking. Now it's time to get started. For the sake of this video, I'm going to be using my beading needle, and this is the beading needle in size 12. I think you can use the size 11 beading needle. If you don't know how to choose the right beading needle for your project, I have a video where I shared how to know the right type of beading needle to choose for your work. I'm going to link that video also on the screen. Go check it out. But people that have seen that video know the reason why I'm using this size of beading needle. All right, so as usual, in order to do the dangling chain pattern, what you want to do is first of all pick one of these tiny beads. You could have also gotten away with using what we call the sand bead or seed bead for this beginning phase, but because it's the cut bead that I have with me, I have sand bead, but I'm too tired to go get it. So I just picked just one piece of broken glass bead. I believe we can see this is where it is. All right, so I'm going to pull it all the way down to the end where my knot is. You see that I've already knotted up my thread. I'm going to also try to highlight it so we see where it is now. So what I'm going to do now is I'm now going to pass this my needle through the knots like so. Please use, when doing your work on a client's work or on your own dress, please use the appropriate color of thread. I'm not supposed to be using black thread for this kind of work, but so you guys can see clearly, and because I'm even too tired to even start threading a new batch of thread, I have some threaded, you know, black. I have some needles threaded with black thread. That's why I'm using this black thread. So now that I passed my needle through my knots, this is what we have here. Can we see the bead at the end? If I'd used a matching color of thread, say a champagne gold thread or a cream colored thread, everything would look seamless. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to pick one of this my teardrop crystal bead. All right guys, so I've picked up my teardrop bead. This is what it looks like. I could decide to let the teardrop face up like this while passing, or face down like this while passing it. It's all your call, okay? But for the sake of this my work, I'm going to allow it face up like so. So I'm just going to pass the teardrop bead to the bottom like this. Next thing, I'm going to pick a couple of size 6 crystal beads, depending on how long I want it to be. All right, so this portion too is your call. If you want the fringe to dangle very well and be very long, put as many beads as you like. If you want it to just be moderate, say like this length, you can stop here. I'm going to show us 2 different styles of creating this dangling chain beading pattern, so you can decide which one you want to rock for which of your dresses or hair accessories. Honestly, there's no limit to where you can even make this on. If you're the kind of person that makes handmade bags, you can make your bag and then put this chain beading pattern at the brim of the bag and just create it as a vibe around the bag. There's no limits to how you can incorporate all these beading details to your work. Anyway, enough of the inspiration. So now this is what we have here. So what I'm going to do next is, let me increase my light so you guys see clearly. All right, so now that my light is bright, I hope we all can see what I'm doing. So Now that this is what we have here, you're just going to simply, depending on where you want to place this chain beading pattern that you've done, you just sew it on. For the sake of the video that we saw at the beginning, we saw that the chain beading was done at the brim of the sleeve, the exaggerated sleeve that was done on the dress. So just determine where you want to sew it and then pull on your thread. While pulling, in order for the dangling chain to have its dangly feeling to it, don't pull too tight on your thread. If you pull too tight, this is how the thing will be standing. Can we see? It will be looking too pointy. But just let it just dangle a little bit so that when you're moving around, just like we saw at the beginning, the chain beading will just be shaking and giving you like this sparkly effect. All right, so now that you've done that, you just bring it out again to the front like so, and then pass your needle back again, and then you can now secure. You can do that whole passing back and forth as many times as you like. All right, then once that is done, you secure your work. Voila, our dangling chain is ready. I hope we all understood what I did there. If we have questions, as usual, first of all, make sure that you have watched the video from the beginning to this point and you have fully digested it and you are still confused, then drop your question in the comment section and I'll be very happy to respond. A lot of times, the question that people ask me, more often than not every time, but most times when people ask questions, is because they skipped the video and they missed an important information. So it's not always fair to me as a person creating these videos for you guys that all I just need you to do is just watch the video and fully understand. But a lot of people will not watch, then they'll still be asking questions in the comment section. It's not always nice because it makes me know that you didn't watch the video. So because if you had watched the video, you won't have that question. Anyway, this is not me scolding you people, I'm just saying. We have a few people that, and I understand attention span can be a huge challenge for a lot of us. Even me, I'm guilty too. So God will help us all. So for the next one, the next style that I was saying I wanted to show you guys, I've already passed. Can we see? This light is now too bright. Let me reduce it for us. So can we see the single, what's it called, broken glass bead right there? All right, so now it's time to pass my needle through the knots like so. And once that is done, what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to pick a couple of these size 6 crystal beads. I'll pick maybe like 4. Like I said, I'm only picking this number of beads because of what I'm trying to just illustrate for us. Feel free to change all these quantities when doing your own. So I'll pick like 4. Then I'll take it up a notch by picking one of this, my teardrop bead. Okay, like so. Pass it. This is what we have here now. I hope it's clear to us. Then I'll go back in again, pick about 4 size 6 crystal beads again. Then go in with one more teardrop crystal bead like so. So I could have continued picking 4 crystal beads, 1 teardrop, 4 crystal bead, 1 teardrop. I could have done that all the way through. I'm going to put on the side here now, somewhere here, I'm going to put a dress that this kind of bead pattern was done, and the end result, it looked absolutely phenomenal. Okay, so you could do this as well if this other one that we did here is still too basic for you, because I know some of us are we like to go off when it comes to our design. So this is going to be such a vibe on a dress or on any form of accessory that you choose to incorporate it into. All right, so now that that is done, I'm just going to, first of all, pull on my bead a little bit. You want it to be dangling, but you don't want it to be too dangly too at the same time, so the dress does not look, or the beadwork does not look poorly done. So now that we've done that, I'm just going to secure my thread, pass it back outside again. I'm going to repeat it again. Please use a matching color of thread, or you can even use your fishing line, the clear fishing line in size 0.25. If you don't know about fishing lines as well, I have a video where I talked just about fishing lines, how to know their sizes, and how to choose the right fishing line for your beadwork or project. So I'm going to link that video again on the screen. If I didn't link it, please scroll to the bottom of the description. You'll see about 5 videos at the bottom. Watch them, digest them, and I'm sure you'll be fine. So this is the end result of this particular beading pattern that I just worked on. I hope we all understood. If you have questions, again, feel free to drop them in the comment section. If you found this very useful as well, let me know by hitting the thumbs up button on this video. All right, guys, so now we're going to move on to the next design, and you need two different designs of beads, or you can decide to use just one design of bead. It all depends on you. For me, I'm working with my sand bead and my size 4 crystal bead, so I'm picking up about 6 or 7 pieces of sand bead, and I'm showing us here. I think I eventually picked up about 8. It all depends on you, honestly. There's no hard and fast rule to it. And for every 8 sand bead that I picked, I put 1 crystal bead. All right, you can decide to use sand bead all through. I just chose to do this because I just feel like it gives a different vibe to the design. You can even decide to use your pipe bead, your rice bead. You can use any type of bead for this particular style. It all depends on you, like I said, and what you're going for. So I'm going to keep picking up pieces of beads until I have something that is going to be dangling from one line to the other. You guys can see under my little black piece of fabric that I have 2 lines that are apart from each other that I'm trying to do this connecting chain pattern on. Okay, I think the best name for this design is the connecting chain pattern. All right, so you want your chain pattern to be dangling, and then once you've achieved the number of beads required for this portion, you just pass your needle and thread to the other side of your fabric. And what you want to make sure you don't do is you don't want to pull too tight on the thread so your dangling chain does not look too stiff. Okay, you want it to be loose and flowy. You guys remember the video that you saw at the beginning of today's tutorial? You see how the dangling chain pattern looks lazy and it's kind of flowy. Exactly, you want to achieve that same type of vibe when you create this design. So I'm just going to do this a couple more times for us to see, and then we're going to move on to the final design that I'm going to be sharing with us, which is the fringe design. You know those fringes that you buy from the market? You can actually create them by yourself, but I'm not going to get ahead of myself. I'm going to allow you guys watch how I continue making this connecting chain pattern before we get to that. If you've made it up to this point in this video and you're yet to be subscribed to the channel, please do well to subscribe to this channel. It's a growing family and we have a lot of fun on here, learning how to make cute little pieces of designs and accessories, and just sharing and teaching and growing each other. So please do well to subscribe if you're interested in any of the things that we typically do on here on the channel. Also, if you've been enjoying this video so far, please support me and let me know that you guys are enjoying by hitting the thumbs up button. That button helps me know that you guys enjoyed whatever video it is that I'm sharing with you guys. Another thing that I forgot to mention to us is the fact that you can decide to use cup chains to create this particular style of beading pattern, but this time instead of gluing on your cup chain, you guys know that I've shared videos where I told you that with cup chains it's faster to glue on. In this case, gluing your cup chain is not going to work. You're going to need to sew your cup chain. If you want to see me create something like this using cup chains, okay, this dangling beading pattern using cup chains, please let me know down in the comments and I'm going to film a video for us. But just in case you have a client request where they want you to use dangling cup chains to create this dangling beading pattern, please note that you need to sew on your cup chain to create this dangling beading pattern. And it's the same thing. You want your cup chain to dangle and look loose on whatever design it is that you're trying to create. But like I said, if you want a video, please let me know and I'll be very happy to share. Alright guys, so this is the last dangling connecting chain design that I'm going to be doing for us, and this is what it should typically look like when you do it on whatever piece of item that it is that you choose to incorporate this style of beading into. This is me just trying to knot up my thread. Always remember to knot up your thread after creating whatever beading pattern it is on your work. Okay, knotting up your beads will ensure that you don't lose the work that you've put into whatever design it is that you're creating. And for this dangling beading pattern, you can incorporate it into your dresses. You can even use it as sleeves, or you can use it to cover up the cleavage area of whatever design it is. There's so many ways that you can incorporate it into your design, so just feel free to come up with cute little recreations for yourself. All right, so it's time for us to create our fringe. And what you want are two different types of beads, or you can even decide to use the same type of bead all through. The choice is yours. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm picking up just one tiny piece of sand bead. Can you guys see? And I've also knotted up the edge of my thread, and now I'm passing my needle through the thread through the knots that I created on my thread. I hope that makes sense. All right, so I'm just trying to pass my needle through, and once I was able to pass the needle through, I pulled all the way down. Okay, and you see that my tiny sand bead is in between the needle and thread before I passed the needle through the knot. I know I'm saying a lot. Just in case you don't understand, rewind and just ignore my voice and look at what I'm doing. So now that I've passed my needle and thread through my knot with that my bead, now it's time to start picking up the beads that I want to use to create my fringe. You can use any type of bead, but you want to start off your work with that method that I showed you. Knot up your thread, pick one single piece of bead with your knot and pass the needle through the knot and start to pick whatever type of bead it is that you're trying to use to create your fringe. You can do a combination of different types of beads to create your fringe. It's all your call. Okay, remember that the video at the intro of this particular tutorial was a combination of crystal bead, the regular size 6 crystal bead, and teardrop crystal bead. There's so many different ways that you can tweak your design and come up with gorgeous results. All right, so it's all your call. Also, for this fringe pattern, you don't want to pull too tight on your thread. You want to make sure that the thread is kind of loose so that your fringe is going to dangle freely and look absolutely beautiful. If you pull too tight on your thread, the end result, the fringe will be looking too stiff, like it's standing. It's not going to be jiggling and looking very flowy and nice. Okay, so make sure that you are not pulling too hard on your thread. And you want to also knot up after each dangling fringe piece that you've done, and then start the same process again till you get a full fringe and everything looks flowy and beautiful. If you don't understand anything that I did, if you have questions for me, please feel free as usual to drop your questions in the comment section. Once I see them, I'm going to respond to you as soon as possible. But I suggest that you watch the video all the way through so you don't ask questions about things that I've already shared in the video. I'm going to repeat this process a couple more times for us to see again how I'm doing and then practice with our own work at home. Again, if you enjoyed this tutorial, please do well to hit the thumbs up button, like this video. Also, if you know someone that is going to enjoy this type of content, please feel free to share with them by hitting on the share button and send it to your family WhatsApp group, your friends WhatsApp group, and just keep sharing all the knowledge that you're gaining on here on YouTube. Finally, if you're still not subscribed to this channel, please do well to hit the subscribe button. Join us. It's fun on here, and yeah guys, it will make me really happy. I'm going to keep quiet now, allow you guys watch all the way to the end. Thank you guys so much again for clicking on today's video, for watching all the way up until this point. I'm really grateful, and I can't wait to see you in another video. Bye bye.